159.2 million shares. We expect our management tax rate to be 18% throughout the year. Now moving to our guidance for the fiscal second quarter. We project net bookings to range from $1.5 to $1.55 billion compared to $985 million in the second quarter last year. The largest contributors to net bookings are expected to be NBA 2K, Grand Theft Auto Online, and Grand Theft Auto 5, Empires & Puzzles, Rollic's hyper-casual mobile portfolio, and Toon Blast. We project recurrent consumer spending to grow approximately 85% and digitally delivered net bookings to increase approximately 70%.
Okay, got it.
Our forecast assumes that 73% of console game sales will be delivered digitally, up from 65% last year.
Yo, how's the audio? Everything good?
We expect net revenue to range from $1.37 to $1.42 billion, and cost of revenue to range from $700 to $719 million, which includes approximately $200 million of amortization of acquired intangibles. Operating expenses are expected to range from $849 to $859 million. At the midpoint, this represents a 125% increase over last year. This increase reflects the inclusion of Zynga and business acquisition costs, as well as higher marketing and personnel expenses, which we believe will be slightly offset by the realization of some of our anticipated cost synergies.
We're about 20 minutes late to the conference call.
$144 to $160 million, or 86 cents to 96 cents per share, which assumes a basic share count of 166.4 million shares. In closing, we had a great start to the year, and we believe that our combination with Zynga will enhance our positioning as one of the top interactive entertainment companies in the world. As our teams continue to leverage the core competencies from Zynga's publishing platform, we believe that we will be able to engage our player base more deeply, add new dimensions to our existing portfolio, and deliver significant long-term growth and margin expansion for our shareholders. Thank you. I'll now turn the call back to Strauss.
Thanks, Lainie and Carl. On behalf of our entire management team, I would like to thank our colleagues for delivering an excellent start to the year. And to our shareholders, I want to express our appreciation for your continued support. We'll now take your questions. Operator?
Thank you. At this time, we'll be conducting a question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate your line is in the question queue. You may press *2 if you'd like to remove your question from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. Our first question comes from Eric Handler with MKM Partners. Please proceed with your question.
MKM Partners.
Good evening, and thanks for the question. Two questions. First, Lainie, I wonder if you could sort of size the changes in guidance in terms of how we might have been thinking about Marvel's Midnight Suns versus what's changed with FX and macro.
So for the difference in the pre-combination business, we had some shifts in the pipeline for the year, and then there was a movement in the foreign exchange rates, and then there's also the uncertain macroeconomic backdrop. So I would say that the shifts in our pipeline were the most meaningful to our numbers. So I would say, we had some titles that moved within the year, and that was Marvel Midnight Suns, and then there was an unannounced title that moved out of the year as well. So I would say it's definitely the pipeline changes that were the most meaningful to the change in the guidance.
Great, thank you. And then, Strauss, I wondered if you could talk a little bit about the state of the mobile industry right now. There has been a little bit of...
We don't want mobile gaming.
...growth for the industry in this year. And wondering, as you look at Zynga's portfolio and combining it with your portfolio, how fast can you integrate, sort of the ad network? Are things changing relative to what you were thinking?
What a shit question.
At the time the acquisition closed, or maybe even when you first made the acquisition?
Thanks, Eric. There's a lot there. We are seeing some softness in the mobile market. The good news is I think we're doing better than most, if not all, and I think we're seeing an offsetting increase in our market share. I think the reason we're seeing probably a bit more softness in mobile than in console is in console to participate you have to buy, and in mobile, by definition, you're in a free-to-play environment. You can play without paying, and if you are feeling the pinch of inflation, specifically with regard to non-discretionary expenditures like fuel and food, you could imagine that if you're playing the game, you might choose to spend a bit less or spend a bit less frequently. That said, we think Zynga's highly diverse portfolio of terrific games is a meaningful offset, and as I said, I think we're outperforming the market. That's our belief. We're also seeing growth in advertising revenues, and because I think we under-index in advertising, that's an opportunity that will be offsetting to the broader market, even if we see ongoing softness. But as you know, we always call it the way we see it, and what we're seeing is overall some softness in the marketplace. When you have 50% of big bank economists saying we think we might be in a recession in the next quarter or two, my attitude is the market believes we're in a recession right now, and as a consumer-facing company, we are seeing some softness. With regard to the integration, I'm not sure you asked about how it's going, but it's going really well, and we expect to meet or exceed our cost synergy expectations, both in terms of magnitude and timing. And more importantly, we fit really well together culturally, and I think all of us at Zynga and now all of us at Take-Two are very excited about the combination, the way things are going, and how well the teams do fit together. And we had a sense of that during the diligence period, but it's always nice to know post-closing that that's the case. And I think you alluded to whether we can sort of create one broader integrated platform. As you know, T2 Mobile Games has been folded into the Zynga division, which is operated by Frank Gibeau and his team highly independently, and one of their key priorities is to create an integrated platform that will bring the best out in all of our games. So enhance our acquisition, enhance our conversion, enhance our retention, enhance our lifetime value, and also enhance, as I said, our advertising revenue. Zynga has a proprietary ad tech platform driven by their Chartboost division, and we're excited about what that can bring to Zynga and also bring to all of Take-Two.
Our next question comes from Matthew Thornton with Truist Securities. Please proceed with your question.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for the question. Maybe two, if I could. First one, Lane, I'd be wondering if you'd be able to give us what the RCS percentage of bookings was for Legacy Take-Two for the quarter. I think it was 73% total with Zynga. I'm curious kind of what that number was without for the quarter. And then just secondly, Strauss, any movement in the out-year pipeline, if we think about how things are progressing and developing, I guess, what's your general sense about progress maybe when we last talked three months ago? That'd be helpful. Thank you.
In terms of the RCS for the pre-combination, we're not really breaking that out anymore. We're really looking at the business overall as one business. But I can tell you that we did outperform on NBA 2K22, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and Top 11 versus our guidance for the quarter. So those three titles did better than we had expected.
And in terms of the pipeline, yes, as Lane mentioned, we did have a number of titles that have been shifting around that have affected our pipeline and some of our results for fiscal 23. Generally speaking, we obviously don't take these shifts lightly. We have seen them before. The most important thing for us is always to put out the best game we possibly can because that's what builds franchise value, and ultimately that's what drives the success of our organization. So it's worth the wait. Typically, that is the best economic decision that we can make. Excuse me. And I would say, though, I'd characterize the pipeline shifts as while these things do move around, and you may have, that may affect a specific year. It hasn't really changed at all our overall perspective on the growth in the intermediate or long term.
Our next question comes from Matthew Cost with Morgan Stanley. Please proceed with your question.
Come on, Morgan Stanley. Ask him something tough.
Taking the questions. I have two. So I guess just kind of following up on the Chartboost point, I think you mentioned in the prepared remarks and then just now in the Q&A about leveraging those marketing capabilities inside Zynga across other titles. I guess, what are you envisioning that looks like, and is that something that can be used to promote titles or cross-promote titles on PC and console in addition to mobile? And then just on the commentary, I think in the press release about the $500 million of synergies, now that you kind of have your hands dirty, you've gotten under the hood with Zynga, do you have a sense of how long it will take to establish feasibility and start working through those projects to get a sense of how long they might take? Is it a 5-year process to get those done? What might that timing look like? Thank you.
Yo, listen to what they're saying. They
Thanks.
want mobile
Look, I
gaming.
think
They
to
want
the
to push
extent
that so bad.
Zynga succeeds in building a robust ad tech platform, then it will affect all of our live services businesses, not just Zynga's live services businesses. And we're really optimistic about that. To be clear, we haven't baked any of that into our cost synergy expectations. And as you know, we've not included our revenue synergy expectations in our forward-looking projections. So that's all upside if we're able to achieve that. But I feel very good about the exercise. And yes, it will cross over to the entire company's live services offerings. In terms of the timing for new projects, very hard to call that now. There's a lot of excitement internally. We're working on a lot of interesting potential ideas. And certainly the development for mobile is much quicker than it is for console. But it would be premature to state a particular time. And of course, all announcements do come from our labels.
Gross.
Our next question comes from Mario Lu with Barclays. Please proceed with your question.
Great. Thanks for taking the questions. The first one is just a follow-up on the full year guidance, the updated one with Zynga. Just hoping if you could help kind of clarify what items were kind of moved around within the Zynga side. I know the Star Wars Hunters got pushed back. It sounds like macro weakness deepened a little bit. So any other color you can provide?
These guys are horny for this Zynga bullshit, dude. That's what they want.
Sure. There was some movement in their pipeline. There was some changes in the FX rate. The Russia sales were removed from their financials, and then also there was some overall ad market. The ad market has experienced some pressure. So those are most of the changes that we saw in their numbers over the last few months.
Okay. And then follow up on the recurring consumer spending. I just wanted to make sure for mobile advertising revenue, that's all included, right, in RCS, or is that categorized somewhere else?
Yes, it is indeed.
Our next question comes from Doug Creutz with Cowen. Please proceed with your question.
Yeah. First, I was just wondering if you're willing to share what Zynga's pro forma rev would have been for the entire quarter. And then secondly, Google is implementing some advertising formatting changes, and there's been some speculation that this could negatively impact the hyper-casual ad business. Just wondering what your take is on that. Do you see any risk there? Is it something you think you can manage through? Thanks.
So we're going to manage their business as one combined entity, so therefore we're not going to break out the Zynga piece for the quarter. So it's not been our practice to break out our results, with our prior acquisitions. So we're not going to do that here as well.
And with regard to a change in ad formats with Google, I don't have a point of view yet about how that may or may not affect us. I would say we're not concerned at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, these guys are they're a little chippy.
Our next question comes from Omar Dessouky with Bank of America. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, two questions.
Let's go Bank of America.
A little bit of clarification on the business plan for Chartboost specifically. Could you clarify whether you're intending to turn that into, a third-party broker advertising network that cross-promotes third-party games on third-party ad inventory, similar to companies like IronSource, AppLovin, or Unity, or it's more of an internal advertising technology tool? That's my first question.
Somebody want to take that?
So in terms of Chartboost, Chartboost does actually deal with third parties today. We certainly haven't announced any changes, but that is one area that we're very excited about. Look, the bigger the business is, the more valuable the platform is going to be. It's going to be certainly valuable from a tech perspective internally, but we think it's a great product, and whether or not it's got great growth prospects to the third-party market remains to be seen, but that's certainly something that is under consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the second question is, with regards to the mobile game market and specifically the Zynga assets, if you think about, what your outlook for the growth in the expense base was in January when you announced the acquisition versus, what you're guiding today, is it about the same? Is it significantly lower? Given that in the first half the mobile video game market, seems to have not performed terribly well.
In terms of the changes in our guidance, it's when we're looking at our OpEx, there's an increase in terms of our expenses from Zynga, but then also in terms against our guidance, we have some lower marketing and some lower headcount expenses due to less new hires due to timing. So that's the big changes between our operating expenses between this guidance and last guidance.
And on the revenue side, obviously there are some things that happen in the short term that Lady and Strauss have already spoken about that can affect what our expectations are, where they are today in the short run versus where they were in January. But overall, our mid to long-term prospects, growth prospects for the business have not changed. We're still very excited about the prospects.
Our next question comes from Martin Yang with Oppenheimer. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. My first question is on your investments into the development resources in the future. Can you maybe talk about your plan for mobile or for Zynga particularly versus the rest of a more PC and console-facing part of the Take-Two in terms of headcount increase or any other
They're not taking the calls.
Structure you have in plan after integration?
I think the good news is that we have a very robust team now. We have 11,000 colleagues around the world, and we have the ability to pursue a very ambitious program of development and publishing. And at the same time, we're a growth business, and we expect to continue to grow. So we don't have expectations that we will significantly increase our headcount anytime soon. At the same time, assuming we grow in the way that we expect to, and we have an expectation to grow very significantly in the next 3 years, I assume we will increase our development headcount somewhat.
Thank you. One more question, if I may. Can you maybe give us more details on the pipeline shift in Take-Two? Is there more conventional reasons like the game is not ready, or is there any macro factors play into that decision in terms of, you feel that market isn't ready for the game, you want to wait until the broader consumer spending environment becomes more friendly to the game's release?
Aha!
Yeah, I mean, it really is simply that the games, to the extent that we're moving games to shifting later, which is when we have pipeline shifts, that's typically the case. We typically don't move games up. But that is really based on where the game is in development. We would not hold a game that's ready to release based on any overall economic trend or something going on in the market. Potentially we would maybe move a game a week or two, depending on for marketing windows, but generally speaking, when the game is ready, that's when we release it.
Our next question comes from Brian Fitzgerald with Wells Fargo. Please proceed with your question.
A couple quick ones, maybe riffing on that macro theme. For a long time, we've accepted the narrative that gaming spend is really resilient in a recession because of the low cost per hour of entertainment. But at the same time, the model has shifted towards digital and RCS. Strauss, you hit upon mobile consumer discretionary, mobile advertising. How resilient do you think overall RCS consumer PC would be if we came into more of a macro environment? Seems that would be a little more resilient than free-to-play type of models on the mobile side. And then quick follow-up, kind of an odd question. Does your PGA Tour business, is it seeing any impact from the Live Tour and the noise around that? Thanks.
What?
So on your first point, I've been asked about the potential impact of a recession on our business since I started with these conference calls some 15 years ago. And over again, I've said I don't believe the entertainment business is recession-proof or even necessarily recession-resistant. And I think we're seeing now that declining consumer spending, an increase in inflation will have an impact on the industry. You've seen it from our report today and from our competitors' reports as well. I think conceptually, the impact is probably greater on free-to-play for the reasons that I said earlier in the call, that you can play those titles without spending money, and you may just decide to spend less frequently or less in aggregate. With regard to a console experience, you have to buy the game to play. And so I think if you want the title, you're going to buy it, and as you point out, it's a very good value for consumers. And on your second point, no, we haven't seen any impact on our ongoing sales or engagement with PGA Tour based on, as you put it, the noise around this new offering.
What a stupid question.
Our next question comes from Maddie Lityun with Bernstein. Please proceed with your question.
Hello, good evening. A question on IDFA. Now, you pointed out your outperformance on mobile. Now, just wondering if the chart boost stack that Zynga has would have helped you perhaps navigate some of the headwinds that some of your mobile peers have pointed out regards to IDFA. So could that user acquisition advantage maybe help there with the outperformance? And then, just to check on that macro pressure on the business, are there any interesting geographic trends in terms of differences, for example, between the U.S. market and elsewhere as you look at those macro headwinds you're seeing so far this year? Thank you.
Look, the change in IDFA is the new reality, and we've been operating within that new reality for some time. I do think that our massive consumer database gives us a benefit in that we have all kinds of in-house proprietary information that will help us with our marketing. I do think that the ad tech platform that Zynga has and is building further, including Chartboost, will help us, as I said earlier, do even better. I'm really not concerned about this post-IDFA world. And in terms of the macro trends, no, the world tends to kind of move in lockstep on an economic basis. So we don't see any particular geographic changes that meaningfully influence our company.
Our next question comes from Eric Sheridan with Goldman Sachs. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks for allowing me to ask a question. Maybe I'll ask a big picture one. Strauss, we're coming up on the beginning of the third year of this console cycle at the end of this year. Any thoughts about what you've seen from new console adoption and what it's meant for overall gaming habits among your users? And how do you think longer term about aligning some of your more interesting content until we get much deeper into the penetration curve, because this console cycle has been very different because of elements around the supply chain dynamic? Thanks so much.
I think you nailed it. It's hard to call what's going on because it wouldn't normally be early 3 years in, but it has been because of the incredible supply constraints. What we have seen, though, is that when people are buying new consoles, they're highly engaged. So the users, for example, of GTA 5 who are on new gen are much more engaged than prior gen users. Now, that may simply be because they have new machines and they're excited about them. But it may also be, and it wouldn't surprise me if this were the case, that because the new consoles offer a better experience, it's a more engaging experience. And that historically has been the case, that our business has grown coincident with the growth and exploitation of increasingly robust technology. And I would expect that to continue for some time to come.
Our next question is from Mike Hickey with The Benchmark Company. Please proceed with your question.
Mike Hickey, let's go.
Hey, Strauss, Carl, Laney, congrats on the quarter, guys, and congrats on your acquisition. Pretty exciting. Two questions for me. First one on your new mobile games from existing IP. Are you sort of thinking casual spin-offs here, like a Red Dead Poker or a GTA Casino? Or are you thinking more core?
Bruh, that's a good idea.
Off your IP. And if it is core, do you feel like you have the resources now that you've added Zynga to make kind of core mobile games, or would you need to be in a position to hire or create new teams or partner? That's sort of the first question. And the second question,
why can't you bring that to console though? Give us a GTA
Alpha,
Casino console.
Besides being very
Red Dead poker
useful,
tournaments.
When you think about your biggest IP and where you've had the most
GTA poker
over the decades, curious what you think your biggest opportunities and challenges are for sort of this emerging new generation of gamers. Thanks, guys.
So thanks, Mike, for your comments and your question. With regard to the creation of new mobile titles based on legacy Take-Two IP, it remains to be seen what those expressions will look like. It'll be driven by the passion and the talent of the teams. And to your question regarding whether Zynga has the ability to do that development in-house, I think the answer is unquestionably they do. Zynga has any number of talented studios all around the world. That distinguishes Zynga from virtually all other mobile developers and publishers. And it's one of the things that we found most exciting about the company, now the label. In terms of the next generation of gamers, I mean, the evidence is that they play more. They're more engaged and they play more. And that makes sense because what was, new technology 15 years ago, to them is just part of the landscape. They've grown up in it. It's like fish in water. People,
very true.
Kids start playing with smartphones as early as they can play with blocks. So I have to believe that interactive entertainment will continue to grow disproportionately to the rest of the audiovisual entertainment business. There's ongoing evidence that it is and will remain the fastest growing segment within the entertainment industry. And I think this next generation will just put a finer and finer point on that. In terms of what we have to give them to engage them, that is still the same, which is the highest quality entertainment experience that is available on the face of the earth. And that's our job, that's our mission, and that's what drives us all every day.
Our next question is from Drew Crum with Stifel. Please proceed with your question.
Okay, thanks. Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Maybe for Strauss or Carl. Guys, are you seeing any changes with the development cycle? And specifically, has COVID in any way elongated the time it takes to complete a game? And is that something that could put the development pipeline at risk? And then separately, guys, what is the company's plan around debt reduction for fiscal 23? Thanks.
Oh.
So in terms of development cycles, I think development cycles are ever changing, and obviously it varies game by game. The games are getting bigger, they're getting more complicated. There's new technology out there that we can avail ourselves to. And all of that's a learning process. And that learning curve is often very steep. But I would say there's nothing specific about the changing development cycles that we haven't seen before. It's just that the games are bigger and they're more complicated and there's more to do. And that's actually what makes our business so exciting.
In terms of debt reduction, we have a strong cash flow. The business will be generating a lot of cash this year. So we look at paying down as much debt as makes sense to at the end of the year. But at the same time, we look at acquisition opportunities as well. So if there's something that makes sense for us to buy during the year, we would also look to do that. So we'll have to see what it looks like at the end of the year based on what the needs are during the rest of the year.
Our next question is from David Karnovsky with J.P. Morgan. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks for the subscribe.
Hi, thank you.
JP.
Just following up on mobile advertising at Zynga, I think you mentioned you were up year over year. Given the overall mobile environment is seeing macro pressure, just wondering how you kind of reconcile that with the advertising gains. Is that about market share? And then wanted to see if you could just speak to the decision to delay the full launch of Star Wars Hunters beyond its initial timeline. And is that game still slated for cross-platform just because the platform is listed as TBA in the release? Thanks.
So in terms of the advertising business, the overall advertising market, generally speaking, has experienced year-over-year declines due to ad tech consolidation and the lower spend on digital advertising. Our advertising revenues have the growth is decelerated from the last quarter, but they grew notably versus last year. And we believe we outperformed the industry trend. We expect this trend to improve over the course of the year with natural seasonality and optimizations we're making in our network mix and pricing. So what was the second question? Oh, yeah, in terms of Star Wars Hunters delay, it really is just a matter of, making sure that the game is delivered at the highest possible quality, and we have not changed anything around platforms.
Our next question is from Andrew Marok with Raymond James. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Two for me, please. Given the criminal enterprises in the last two GTA Online expansions have been received pretty well, how should we be thinking about the GTA Online content pipeline or philosophy as development on the next premium GTA ramps and resources are reallocated? And then second, could softness in the ad market create opportunities for lower cost marketing or change marketing strategies ahead of some of your frontline releases? Thank you.
Thank you. The Rockstar Games has been supplying ongoing content updates for Grand Theft Auto Online since its release in 2013. The most recent one was well received, and they continue to put out terrific content. Any announcements about upcoming properties do come from the labels. We don't tend to talk about them here. And the great question about advertising costs, and I think it's a fair one, which is if you're seeing softness in the market, does that mean you can market your titles more cheaply going forward? And the answer is we might see some minor adjustment in the cost profile, but at the end of the day, we spend a lot to support our big console launches, and I don't think that softness in the ad market would probably have a material impact on that.
No.
Our next question is from Clay Griffin with MoffettNathanson. Please proceed with your question.
Hi, good evening. Notwithstanding the impact of the higher ASP on the Championship Edition of 2K, I'm just wondering if you're seeing any material change in mix as we head into this kind of pre-order window. I guess in light of some of the softness in free-to-play mobile, I guess the question begs, do you have any flexibility to maybe go a bit more aggressively with bundled virtual currency in the pre-order window?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything specifically in the market that would change our philosophy on how we package our product. I think we always are trying new models and new pricing.
Which is dumb. They should change
to try to optimize the situation. But I don't really see a market-driven specific opportunity arising. But you'll see us experimenting all the time.
And no real change in mix versus last year normalizing for this Championship Edition?
Thanks for the subscribe.
There'll be some changes in mix, but we haven't really talked about it at this point.
Okay, thanks.
We have reached the end of the question and answer session. I'd like to turn the call back over to Strauss Zelnick for closing comments.
We just like to thank you all for joining us. We're really proud of how the company's performing. Our combination with Zynga is off to a terrific start culturally, financially, strategically, and creatively. And I want to reiterate my appreciation to our colleagues all around the world. We'll be talking to all of them tomorrow in our various town hall meetings. These results are thanks to their hard, dedicated, and creative work. Thank you all.
This concludes today's conference. You may disconnect your lines at this time, and we thank you for your participation.
Oh my God. So we were about 15 minutes late on the conference call. So we're gonna let it circle back around here in just a minute, so we can catch the first bit of it. Wow, man, God, that's very disappointing. All this mobile shit coming in. They're pushing that hard, dude. What's up, Chris? Yeah. Yeah, they weren't. I called the number. They weren't picking up though. They listen. They did this different. They did this conference call different from what they've done in the past. I had to register to sign up to get in here. That's part of the reason why it was being late. I haven't had to do that in the past. So I think our last live stream when I did get called in, and the number's different. It's a different number now. So I think I think they saw that and they're like, let's do this differently. Yes, I am a stockholder. Yeah, Take-Two is down right now. They're down a little bit, not too much, a little bit. But I want to hear the beginning of the conference call though. letting it loop back over. We'll give it a second here to loop in. Oh, I'm long, Scotty, big time. Yeah, especially with GTA 6 coming out. For sure. For sure. Let me see if I can't play.
Greetings and welcome to Take-Two fourth quarter and fiscal year 2022 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. A question and answer session will follow the formal presentation. If anyone should require operator assistance during the conference, please press star 0 on your telephone keypad. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to your host, Nicole Shevins, Senior Vice President of Investor Relations and Corporate Communications. You may begin.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining our conference call to discuss our results for the fourth quarter and fiscal year 2022 ended March 31st, 2022. Today's call will be led by Strauss Zelnick, Take-Two's Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Karl Slatoff, our President, and Lainie Goldstein, our Chief Financial Officer. We will be available to answer your questions during the Q&A session following our prepared remarks. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that statements made during this call that are not historical facts are considered forward-looking statements under federal securities laws. These forward-looking statements are based on the beliefs of our management, as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to us. We have no obligation to update these forward-looking statements. Actual operating results may vary significantly from these forward-looking statements based on a variety of factors. These important factors are described in our filings with the SEC, including the company's most recent annual report on Form 10-K and quarterly report on Form 10-Q, including the risks summarized in the section entitled Risk Factors. I'd also like to note that, unless otherwise stated, all numbers we will be discussing today are GAAP, and all comparisons are year-over-year. Additional details regarding our actual results and outlook are contained in our press release, including the items that our management uses internally to adjust our GAAP financial results in order to evaluate our operating performance. Our press release also contains a reconciliation of any non-GAAP financial measure to the most comparable GAAP measure. In addition, we have posted to our website a slide deck that visually presents our results and financial outlook. Our press release and filings with the SEC may be obtained from our website at take2games.com. And now I'll turn the call over to Strauss.
Thanks, Nicole. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Our strong fourth quarter results concluded another highly successful year for our company. We delivered net bookings of $3.4 billion, which reflect our creative team's unwavering commitment to quality and the ability to deliver captivating and engaging entertainment experiences that transcend geographies and generations. On behalf of our management team, I'd like to thank all of our colleagues around the world for helping us to achieve these results, especially as we continue to navigate through the new normal following the pandemic. During the year, we positioned our organization strategically for long-term growth. To that end, we bolstered our creative teams by adding nearly 1,000 new developers, including through the acquisition of several talented studios, which will help us expand our capabilities and support our growing pipeline of offerings. We broadened our portfolio further with the introduction of new intellectual properties and business models to drive player engagement. We agreed upon our pending combination with Zynga, which will grow our audience significantly and increase exponentially our net bookings for mobile, the fastest-growing segment in interactive entertainment, while also providing us with substantial cost synergies and revenue opportunities. As we build our scale, we believe that we can grow our margins meaningfully. Lastly, we advanced our ESG efforts, and I'm pleased that we recently published our first dedicated report, which includes information on our initiatives to date as well as our roadmap for the future. During the quarter, our newly released WWE 2K22 and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands outperformed our expectations, as did Red Dead Redemption 2. NBA 2K22 continued to grow its audience, with the title selling in over 10 million units to date and exceeding sell-in from the prior year. During the fourth quarter, engagement remained very strong, with average active days of playing up 6% and average games per user up 13% year-over-year. In addition, NBA 2K22 Arcade Edition continues to hold the #1 position on Apple Arcade's top game chart, and for the full year, downloads of NBA 2K Mobile increased nearly 25% as compared with fiscal 2021. We see a significant opportunity to add unique and innovative experiences throughout the game and focus on expanding our player base. On March 11th, 2K and Visual Concepts returned triumphantly to the squared circle with the eagerly anticipated release of WWE 2K22, which achieved the highest Metacritic scores on both Xbox and PlayStation platforms in franchise history. Setting new benchmarks for quality, the title offers more features and enhancements than any prior release in the series, including a redesigned gameplay engine, new controls, foundational improvements, upgraded visuals, and an array of options requested by our passionate player base. Notably, WWE 2K22's sell-in for its first 4 weeks exceeded the levels achieved for both WWE 2K19 and WWE 2K20, even with a revised release window that was not during the holiday season. Consumer engagement with the title has been outstanding, with over 140 million in-game matches played to date, and over 5.6 million hours of WWE 2K22 content viewed on Twitch. I'd like to thank 2K and the WWE team of Visual Concepts for their commitment to reestablishing this incredible franchise. We greatly appreciate WWE's immense support in launching this year's game and look forward to continuing and building upon our successful partnership in the years to come. On March 25th, 2K and Gearbox Software released Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, an all-new, fantasy-fueled offering that has taken our partnership with Gearbox to new creative heights and is viewed as the best new franchise launch from 2K in several years. The title has resonated with core fans and new audiences alike, with nearly 30% of players having never before played a Borderlands title. To date, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands has exceeded our expectations and is being supported with cross-play functionality, an array of post-launch content, and a season pass. I'd like to congratulate 2K and Gearbox on delivering another stellar game, and we look forward to the possibilities for this new franchise in the years to come. During the fourth quarter, Rockstar Games expanded the reach of their iconic entertainment experience, Grand Theft Auto V, with the release of new versions of the game upgraded specifically for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. This marks the third console generation for which the game has been made available since its initial launch in 2013, and to date, the title has sold in more than 165 million units. Also, for the first time ever, Grand Theft Auto Online was made available as a standalone title for the latest generation consoles. Featuring an array of graphical and technical enhancements, a new career builder, new vehicles, and more, these versions were well received by the game's vast community of players. In the period, Grand Theft Auto Online maintained its massive audience size from the prior year, while growing 8% and 74% as compared to the fourth quarters of fiscal 2020 and 2019, respectively. In addition, Rockstar Games launched GTA Plus, an all-new membership program that's exclusive to Grand Theft Auto Online players on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S consoles, whereby participants can receive a range of valuable player-friendly benefits, including a monthly deposit of GTA dollars and other bonuses designed to help players experience everything Grand Theft Auto Online has to offer, including access to major content packs like last holiday's The Contract. Initial conversion has been above our expectations, which we believe bodes well for this to be an ongoing engagement driver over time.
Bullshit!
Red Dead Redemption 2 continued to
Who's buying GTA Plus?
Stop buying it. More than 44 million units worldwide. Results for the series were notably above our expectations for the period, which is further proof of the ongoing popularity of Rockstar's blockbuster entertainment experiences. Turning to Private Division, the label's recently acquired studio, Roll7, successfully launched Ollie Ollie World in February, which received significant critical praise for its unique art style and impressive gameplay mechanics. We'll support the title with its first expansion, Void Riders, in the first half of this fiscal year. Championing the best independent talent in our industry, Private Division recently signed 4 new publishing agreements with leading independent developers, Die Gute Fabrik, Evening Star, Piccolo Studio, and Yellow Brick Games. We look forward to working with these talented teams. During the fourth quarter, recurrent consumer spending declined 6% over last year and accounted for 60% of net bookings. Over the past few months, the consumer has seen a wide array of long-awaited, high-quality new releases in the market, including several of our own exciting titles that have not deployed significant live service offerings. We believe that this dynamic has impacted our overall recurrent consumer spending. NBA 2K and Grand Theft Auto Online were the largest contributors to our current consumer spending during the fourth quarter, and many of our free-to-play offerings were notable drivers as well. Top 11 continued to perform very well following our acquisition and was our #1 mobile title during the fourth quarter. Two Dots delivered notable year-over-year growth and posted its best-ever net bookings performance, driven by new in-game events and successful marketing activations. Dragon City and Monster Legends delivered a solid finish to the year, supported by enhanced live operations. WWE SuperCard has now been downloaded more than 26 million times and remains 2K's highest-grossing mobile game. And NBA 2K Online in China outperformed our expectations. The title remains the #1 online PC sports game in the region, with nearly 57 million registered users. We're incredibly excited about our future path of growth, including our pending combination with Zynga. We believe that this will be a transformative moment for Take-Two as we continue to build upon our core tenets to become the most innovative, the most creative, and the most efficient entertainment company in the world. Combined, we'll create a powerhouse of industry-leading titles that span key platforms and genres across interactive entertainment, developed by some of the most creative and forward-thinking talent within the industry. Later this week, our respective shareholders will vote on the transaction, which, assuming such approvals are obtained, we anticipate will close on May 23, 2022. On a standalone basis for fiscal 2023, we expect to achieve a new record of $3.75 billion to $3.85 billion in net bookings as we plan to deliver many new exciting releases during the year. Looking ahead, and excluding the impact of our combination with Zynga, we expect fiscal 2024 and fiscal 2025 to set even higher records of net bookings for our company, alongside a significant ramp-up in profitability. Lainie will provide additional details on our outlook shortly, while Karl will share an update on our exciting, diverse multi-year pipeline, including approximately 69 titles that we plan to release through fiscal 2025. In closing, we're highly optimistic about our future. As we continue to expand our enterprise and execute on our growth strategies, we believe that Take-Two remains incredibly well-positioned to increase its scale and prominence within the industry, expand margins, and deliver long-term value for our shareholders. I'll now turn the call over to Karl.
Thanks, Strauss.
Karl.
I'd like to begin by thanking our teams around the world for delivering another outstanding year for our company. Strong results were driven by our colleagues' passion, creativity, and commitment to deliver value for all of our stakeholders. I'll now discuss our recent first quarter releases. On April 21st, 2K and Gearbox Software released Coiled Captors, the first of 4 exciting downloadable content packs in the Tiny Tina's Wonderland Season Pass. Featuring a new environment, boss encounter, and legendary loot, the offering represents an innovative post-launch experience from this exciting
Still have never even seen this game before.
On April 26th, 2K and Visual Concepts launched the Bonsai Pack, featuring 5 playable superstars, plus My Faction Evo cards for each. This is the first of 5 downloadable planned content offerings for WWE 2K22, all of which will be available individually and as part of the game's Season Pass throughout the year. Looking ahead, fiscal 2023 will be another exciting year for Take-Two, as we deliver captivating new entertainment experiences for our players, while also growing our business through our pending combination with Zynga. I'll now provide details on Take-Two's fiscal 2023 pipeline on a standalone basis, which includes 18 planned releases. We expect to deliver 6 immersive core offerings, all of which will be available for purchase. These include The Quarry, which is an all-new horror narrative game from 2K and Supermassive Games, where every choice, big or small, shapes your story and determines who lives to tell the tale. Featuring an iconic ensemble cast of Hollywood stars, including David Arquette, Ariel Winter, Justice Smith, Brenda Song, Lance Henriksen, Lin Shaye, and more. The Quarry will launch on June 10th for PlayStation and Xbox consoles and Windows PC via Steam. Marvel's Midnight Suns is planned for release during the second half of calendar 2022 and is one of this year's most anticipated games. The title is being developed by Firaxis Games, the acclaimed studio that brought audiences such iconic franchises as Sid Meier's Civilization and XCOM, and features the Marvel Universe's most revered heroes in an entirely new gameplay experience. 2K will have more to share in the coming months. Kerbal Space Program 2, which is coming from Private Division and Intercept Games, is now expected to launch on PC in early calendar 2023 and on consoles later in calendar 2023.
This right here is what you need to pay
Anticipation for the
attention
title
to.
is high, with more than 12 million views of the announcement trailer.
They don't even mention it.
The dedicated Kerbal community can look forward to more information about the game and its new features from the title's ongoing
The announcement is coming in 2023.
Turning to our annual sports offerings, fans can expect all new releases from our popular sports series, including NBA 2K23, WWE 2K23, and PGA Tour 2K23, which will debut legendary golf icon Tiger Woods as the game's executive director. 2K will have more to share about these titles shortly. Continuing with our fiscal 2023 pipeline, we plan to release 8 mobile titles, including 4 from new franchises and 4 from existing franchises, and 3 mid-core arcade titles for purchase, which include 1 new sports title from 2K, a new franchise from Private Division, and a new Tales from the Borderlands game, which will feature new characters and stories set in the Borderlands universe. And lastly, we'll have 1 new iteration of a previous release title available for purchase. Our labels will continue to provide new content and experiences that drive engagement and recurrent consumer spending across many of their hit franchises, including NBA 2K, Grand Theft Auto Online, Red Dead Redemption Online, WWE 2K, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Ollie Ollie World, and more.
Sequels would not
Excluding
fall
our
into this
pending
category.
combination
I don't
with
know,
Zynga,
man. I
we
don't know.
expect to deliver 51 titles throughout fiscal 2024 and fiscal 2025, which we believe will pave the way for us to achieve a strong acceleration in net bookings and growth and profitability. This includes 18 immersive core releases, 7 of which are sports simulation games.
Hold on.
16 of these will be available for purchase, while 2 will be free to play. 10 independent titles, which will all be available for purchase. 12 free-to-play mobile games. 4 mid-core games for purchase, 2 of which will be sports-oriented. And 7 new iterations of previously released titles, which will all be available for purchase. It bears noting that these titles are a snapshot of our current development pipeline. It is likely that some of these titles will not be developed through completion, that launch timing may change, and that we will also be adding new titles to our slate. In addition to our full game releases, we will continue to offer post-launch content from many of our releases, ranging from virtual currency sales to DLC packs and season passes.
You don't predict a massive shift in your GAAP net revenue and your net bookings.
On March 23rd, and included new sponsors.
Look at this. Look at this increase.
This year, the league has partnered with the city of Indianapolis to bring all tournaments, as well as playoffs and finals, to its new home at the Pavilion.
Something's going down. Something's going
down. The league's overall prize pool has increased to $2.5 million this season, the largest since its inception. We remain very excited about the continued success and growth of the NBA 2K League, which has a long-term potential to enhance engagement and to be a driver of profits for our company. In closing, as we execute on our organic growth initiatives and unlock new opportunities presented by our pending transaction with Zynga, we believe that we can broaden our portfolio and capitalize further on new platforms, business models, emerging markets, and distribution channels. As we deliver on these growth opportunities, we believe that Take-Two is exceedingly well positioned to deliver long-term value for our shareholders. I'll now turn the call over to Lainie.
Thanks, Carl, and good afternoon, everyone. Today I'll discuss our fourth quarter and fiscal 2022 results, and then review our financial outlook for the full year and first quarter of fiscal 2023. Please note that our initial outlook does not include Zynga in our projected results or the interest expense on the notes that Take-Two issued in April to fund the cash portion for our pending acquisition of Zynga. Additional details regarding our actual results and outlook are contained in our press release. I'm extremely pleased with the accomplishments that Take-Two delivered during the fourth quarter and fiscal year. We posted strong financial results, took exciting steps to position the company for long-term growth, and announced our transformational pending combination with Zynga, which brings massive potential to our portfolio and financial profile. I'd like to thank our teams for their passion, commitment, and for continuing to help Take-Two deliver its strategic vision. Starting with our fourth quarter, total net bookings grew 8% to $846 million. Our newly released WWE 2K22 and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands outperformed our expectations, as did Red Dead Redemption 2. During the period, digitally delivered net bookings grew 4% and accounted for 91% of the total. This exceeded our outlook of a slight increase due to the outperformance of digitally delivered full game sales. 75% of console game sales were delivered digitally, up slightly from last year. As Jeff mentioned, over the last few months, there's been a wide array of long-awaited, high-quality new releases in the market, including several of our own exciting titles that have not deployed significant live service offerings. Accordingly, our recurrent consumer spending declined 6% and accounted for 60% of total net bookings. GAAP net revenue grew 11% to $930 million, while cost of goods sold increased 43% to $399 million, driven by amortization of software development costs for our fourth quarter release. Operating expenses increased by 32% to $403 million, driven by the addition of Nordeus, including its earnout, as well as higher marketing and transaction costs. And GAAP net income was $111 million, or 95 cents per share, compared to $219 million, or $1.88 per share in the fourth quarter of fiscal 2021. Turning to our fiscal 2022 results, total net bookings were $3.41 billion as compared to $3.55 billion in the prior year. As we expected, throughout the year, our engagement trends were notably higher than they were pre-pandemic. However, as the world began settling into a new normal, there was a moderation of the trends that benefited our industry during the height of the pandemic. As a result, digitally delivered net bookings declined 2%, slightly outperforming our guidance of a 3% decline, and accounted for 91% of the total. 68% of our console game sales were delivered digitally, up from 64% last year.
Wow.
And recurrent consumer spending declined 6%. Non-GAAP adjusted unrestricted operating cash flow was $425 million as compared to our outlook of over $400 million. During fiscal 2022, we spent $159 million on capital expenditures. At fiscal year end, our cash and short-term investments balance was approximately $2.6 billion. GAAP net revenue grew 4% to $3.5 billion.
This is debt right here. That's why there were so many questions about
$1.5 billion.
One question about the debt.
Operating expenses increased 24% to $1.5 billion, driven primarily by the additions of Playdots and Nordeus, including the revaluation of its earnout, higher personnel, stock compensation, marketing and IT expenses, and higher transaction costs.
That's GTA.
And GAAP net income was $480 million, or $3.58 per share, as compared to $589 million, or $5.09 per share in the prior year. Today, we provided our initial fiscal 2023 outlook for Take-Two on a standalone basis. We project net bookings to range from $3.75 to $3.85 billion, which is a new record level for the company and implies strong growth of 11% at the midpoint. We have an exciting pipeline of releases that we expect to bring to market during the year, including 6 immersive core titles, which is twice as many as we delivered in fiscal 2022. The largest contributors to net bookings are expected to be NBA 2K, Grand Theft Auto Online and Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Marvel's Midnight Suns, and PGA Tour 2K23. We expect the net bookings breakdown from our labels to be roughly 60% 2K, 30% Rockstar Games, and 10% Private Division and T2 Mobile Games. And we forecast our geographic net booking split to be about 60% United States and 40% GTA? International. And we expect recurrent consumer spending to be flat compared to fiscal 2022 and represent 58% of net bookings, which is down from 64% last year due to a greater number of new releases. We project digitally delivered net bookings to grow 10% and represent 91% of net bookings, which is in line with last year. Our forecast assumes that 71% of console game sales will be delivered digitally, up from 68% last year. We expect to generate more than $350 million in non-GAAP adjusted unrestricted operating cash flow, and we plan to deploy approximately $120 million for capital expenditures. We expect GAAP net revenue to range from $3.67 to $3.77 billion and cost of goods sold to range from $1.66 to $1.7 billion. Our total operating expenses are expected to range from $1.74 to $1.76 billion. At the midpoint, this represents a 17% increase over the prior year. As Carl mentioned, we have approximately 69 titles that we plan to deliver over the next 3 years, and we will be investing behind our pipeline in key areas such as marketing, personnel, and IT. And we expect GAAP net income to range from $223 to $252 million, or $1.90 to $2.15 per share. For management reporting purposes, we expect our tax rate to be 16% throughout fiscal 2023. Now moving on to our guidance for the fiscal first quarter. We project net bookings to range from $700 to $750 million as compared to $711 million in the first quarter last year. The largest contributors to net bookings are expected to be NBA 2K22, Grand Theft Auto Online and Grand Theft Auto V, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online, The Quarry, and WWE 2K22. We expect digitally delivered net bookings to increase 2%. Our forecast assumes that 78% of console game sales will be delivered digitally, up from 73% in the same period last year. We project recurrent consumer spending to decline by 10%, as we believe that the momentum behind our own exciting titles that have not deployed significant live service offerings will continue into the first quarter. We expect GAAP net revenue to range from $810 to $860 million.
We're talking about the GTA Winter DLC. The Winter DLC is going to make
operating expenses are expected to range from $387 to $397 million. At the midpoint, this represents a 25% increase over last year, driven primarily by higher personnel and marketing expenses, as well as transaction costs. And GAAP net income is expected to range from $93 to $105 million, or 80 to 90 cents per share. In closing, we have great confidence in our ability to drive accelerated growth into fiscal 2023 and beyond. And we believe that our pending combination with Zynga will take our business to an even greater level of scale and profitability. As we execute on our strategic initiatives, we believe that we can deliver sustainable, profitable growth for our shareholders. Thank you. I'll now turn the call back to Strauss.
Thanks, Lainey and Carl. On behalf of our entire management team, I'd like to thank our colleagues for delivering another outstanding year. And to our shareholders, I'd like to express our appreciation for your continued support. We'll now take your questions. Operator?
Thank you. At this time, we'll be conducting a question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone.
Do you guys want to hear the questions again, or are you good? Because this is pretty much where we kind of left off, or where we started up. Do you guys want to hear the questions again? Go through it one more time. Shit. Lightning coming through. All right, so yeah, again, so basically, to summarize this, okay, you can see by the numbers, shit's going on. Shit's happening with GTA 6. You can tell. They're continuing with GTA 5 updates. Again, they pretty much just said that in the last comment that lady was talking about. So you got the Winter DLC coming up. You got GTA 6 in the pipeline. They've added 1,000 employees. I can't believe it. They've got over 6,000. That's crazy. Let's go back. Where was that at? Where was that? Shit. That was insane. Look at that right here. 6,042. Development studio staff headcount. It's insane from 2021. So basically 1,000 more people. So they're I mean, this has got to be not only Zynga. That's got to be Zynga as well. I mean, I thought that the Zynga thing was this from 43 to 5,000, but whatever. So you got tons of people working. Again, why they can't give Red Dead some love, I don't know. I'm not a big Red Dead player, but they should still give that game some love. It outperformed their expectations, for God's sakes, and they've pretty much just, whatever. Anyways, so shit's in the pipeline. It's going down for GTA 6. Obviously, I'm telling you, man, 2023, 2024, the announcement's going to come. It's got to come. I mean, 2024 at the latest, but I think they're going to make the announcement soon, within the next year and a half, which will take you into 2024 sometime. So, anyways, you got that going down. They're pushing strong on GTA 5 still, and the biggest thing from this is they are pushing heavy with mobile gaming. I mean heavy. Again, very, very heavy. You saw the stats with the increase on mobile gaming. It's almost as much as PC right now. I can't believe that. I'm not sure if this is where the slide is on that, but where was it? Did I pass it already? I think I did pass it. Where was that? Was it over here? Anyways, yeah. Well, so the mobile gaming's like 12% right now, and PC is 17%. Where was that? It's in here somewhere. Damn it! Damn it! Damn you! All these stupid slides. Anyways, though, that's significant. That's a tremendous, boost, and I don't think it's gonna get any. Yeah, that one guy is like, "Are we doing like a mobile GTA casino or a mobile Red Dead poker?" Like, that's actually a really good idea. If they want to push that, that is a really good idea. I mean, look at this. Some of these games, 1 billion lifetime downloads. Jesus Christ. I want to find that slide though. Is that it right there? No. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Look at that. Mobile gaming, 12%. PC 17. Console 7. This is of their net bookings. That's huge. That's huge. Console's down a little bit, but that's everything is down except for mobile and for the post pandemic, right? God dang. Unreal. So look, in the height of the pandemic, mobile went from 200 million to 300 million, from 3 to 4. So they experienced the same growth even outside. Unbelievable. Look how PC shot up though. PC went from 243 to 600, and then it kind of leveled off, and now it's gone back down. It's crazy, man. So yeah, GTA still going strong. Missed opportunity with Red Dead, and it seems like they're shifting a lot of their focus to mobile. Looks like they're shifting a lot of stuff over to mobile. And yeah, just I don't know, the whole trilogy thing. There's a slide in here. They're talking about the pipeline for the trilogy, and it's going to be why did they mess up those games with the trilogy? Why did they mess those up? Yeah, right here. Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy definitive edition. It's coming to mobile. I thought that was already on mobile. Is GTA the trilogy? It's not on mobile, is it? It's coming so in the fiscal year 2023. What? Come on, dude. GTA 6 be mobile only. What if? DC, why invest in the mobile? Because mobile is so cheap. Mobile is so cheap to get going. I mean, look, you saw the numbers. Look how much money they have to spend on console. They have to spend a dramatic amount of money on console. A tremendous amount they have to spend on console. With mobile, it's like 90% cheaper to spend money on mobile. Mobile is so much cheaper, and you get so much more money out of it. Free to play, and then you just sell all your microtransactions. Bro. It's crazy. So, anyways, interesting. Glad we caught this. This is pretty fun. Sorry I couldn't call in. Again, they've changed up how they do this. I think someone watched my stream last time because I got through. I got through last time. They put me in the queue, but they ended the session. Yeah, it's so cheap for mobile gaming. It's so cheap to get it going. I mean, hell, anybody can make a mobile app. Anybody can make a mobile app and upload it, right? So imagine if you're a company like Zynga and Take-Two owns Zynga now, and you've got almost unlimited amount of money you can put into it. And what they do is instead of developing the app, they just put money into advertisement. Which that's what they were talking about, guys, with what was it, IDFA or IDGA or whatever. IDFA is that is advertisement information. Let me show you quick. Hold on. So this is what IDFA is. I brought this up to show you guys. IDFA is basically when you're on a mobile game, they can identify you. And Apple was real big in this, right? So, but every cell phone, every mobile device has this. So advertisers use this to track data so they can deliver customized advertising. The IDFA is used for tracking and identifying a user without revealing personal information. That's what the whole idea, that's what they were talking about in the questions. There's like several questions about IDFA. So that's what that is. So it's basically just them, you know, figuring out who you are by your online listen, everything on your phone is tracked. How long you stare at an advertisement, how long you stare at a TikTok, how long you stare at a Instagram picture, you know, even how you touching your screen, all of that is tracked. Every bit of it is tracked. So they use that to send you advertisements. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. That's what's happening. That's what IDFA is. They track everything. Everything is tracked. Because that's, you know, what they want to sell to you. They want to sell. Every bit of it's tracked. James, it's true. The amount of time you spend on a advert, even if you don't click on the advertisement, that little like block, say you're going through a news, you could just be reading and that advert is staying there on the screen. That is tracked. Every bit of that's tracked. So all that, and that's what they use, all these identifiers, and that's what IDFA is. I've heard that term used a million times, and that it was real big when mobile was blowing up with. Do you guys remember the whole Angry Birds phenomenon? Angry Birds, then the Ninja Fruit game, right? That was attributed to IDFA is what helped push that. Why the hell would you want to? I mean, come on. Why the hell would you want to throw Angry Birds? They even changed the sound that the game made. I remember reading up on all this shit because the sound, you know what I mean, like would help like keep people engaged in the game. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, Farmville. Yeah, I think that was part of the whole thing as well. Yeah, but I when I was reading about this was years ago when the whole Angry Birds and the Ninja Fruit Cutter Slasher thing, whatever. Yeah, all that was attributed to IDFA practices and technology. And because, I mean, honestly, how would that game pick up and blow up? You know what I mean? It's because it was finessed into your phones. So, yeah, Candy Crush, all that shit. Crazy, right? Crazy. Crazy. Fruit Ninja, that's what it was called, yeah. Fruit Ninja was fire? No, that's cap, dude. You're just like, how is that fun? How is that any kind of entertainment? How is that fun? It's just, you know, it's dumb. It's stupid. Nothing about that is fire. I don't care. I don't care. Listen, that's my opinion. Okay. You can have your own opinion. I know. You know. Oh, I love it, Ty. That's great. It's wicked. Jesus. See, you're the drone that they're looking for, Filthy. You're the drone. They're looking for sheeple just like you. They're looking for sheeple just like you. Carmel, you're another one. See? See? Another one right there. Sheeple. Oh, 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 ah! It's all right, man. It's all right. Listen, every society, every community has bots, right? I got sucked into it, man. I did. Empire 4 Kingdoms. I was like, I want to play a game like Medieval Total War on my cell phone, and I found this game, and I was like, it's all right. I kept, you know, this little things kept happening. I kept playing, And I was like, I'll never pay for money on this game. And they got me. They got me. I didn't go crazy. I dropped like $150 though over like a 6-month period, because you want to get your castle built up quicker, right? You got to buy those rubies, got to buy those gems. And I was like, what am I doing? I just like threw my phone and I never played the game again. Oh my, but they got me though. They got me. Clash of Clans, disgusting. Never even, I can't touch that. Empire 4 Kingdoms was a decently fun game, but it totally took over my, because it's a 24-hour game, right? I'd be asleep at 4 a.m. and I'm getting alerted that my castle's being attacked by some freaking nerd over in like, wherever, you know what I mean, other side of the world, who's over there like this, let me attack Tylarious. Rockstar's calling me back. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm not picking up. Oh my god. Oh my. I'm not picking up. No, I'm not picking up. I'm not picking up. No way. No way. No way. Like, you gotta end your live stream right now. Oh shit. That's funny. They're calling. Yeah, they're gonna ask for a boneless calzone. They do know. Oh my god. All right, let me get off here, you guys. Let me get off here. Members Monday will be a little bit later on tonight. Okay, I'm gonna get me some food, so maybe around 8 o'clock, something like that. Members Monday. Got some. My schedule got messed up today, so videos out tomorrow. I got some videos out tomorrow, but yeah, Members Monday a little bit later on. I'm gonna get some food. Let me go ahead and shut this broadcast down. You guys, thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for the Ills to Reels content in the game. Smash that like button. See you guys in the next.